Hey, welcome to the Philosophy Podcast. I am your host, Controversy, and to my right, I have my co-host, Mr.
Darren Lowe.
And together, we are the Philosophy Podcast. Thank you to you guys for tuning in to our very first episode of our podcast. We are about to embark on a journey, you know what I mean, together, doing this podcast together.
The unknown.
To the unknown, that's it, mate. And all we ask is that if you guys choose to embark on this journey with us, you know what I mean, and you guys like the content, please like, comment and subscribe. And yeah, we're going to have new content coming each and every week. New episodes coming each and every week. I'm not sure what day at this point, but you know, new episodes coming every week for the foreseeable future. And yeah,
talk about educational stuff.
Yeah, we're talking about
interest. We're going to try to keep it interesting.
Yeah, talking about all sorts
try
of
to make
shit.
it funny sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about life.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, yeah, how you know, philosophy is basically anyone that asks the question how we get here.
Yeah.
Or you know, that's sort of just sort of searching for these answers and things, you know.
Yeah.
You know? I love philosophy.
Likewise,
I really do.
yeah. I think it's just about a deeper, introspective kind of understanding. If you
Let's
see
talk
what I mean.
about philosophy.
Well, it'll be quite fitting because obviously
our
first ever episode. You know what I mean? And after all, we are the Philosophy Podcast, so I think it's quite fitting. You know. Yeah, let's talk about philosophy then, mate.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I've become a philosopher ever since my wife divorced me. You know, and there is actually a quote saying that, you know, you don't become a philosopher until you get divorced.
You get divorced, yeah, that's quite funny.
Because you become a thinker.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I started thinking about life a little bit, you know, and to be honest with you, since my separation, 15 years ago, I've been divorced now, I've learned so much about life.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would have learned so much if my ex-wife, you know, if we were still together, basically, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
If all this crap didn't happen to me, you know.
Yeah.
And I sometimes think it does you good actually to have a bit of crap going in your life, even though you don't like it at the time, because you learn a lesson. If you see what I mean.
Teaches you something.
You know, and that's a bit of philosophy for you at the moment. You know, at the moment, so I said the wrong word. You see, we make mistakes, and that's it. You learn from your mistakes as well, and we learn from our regrets as well in life. You know, and I don't regret sort of like meeting my ex-wife, but I regret marrying her.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, philosophy is very interesting because you learn all the time. You know, and philosophy is about everything, about like from the time you're born. To the moment you die, really, you know, and about like, you know, when you're 1 really years old, you don't really know the world you're living in, you know, and you kind of start learning about it. You haven't really got much memory, have you?
Yeah,
you know,
true.
When you're a year old.
Of course, yeah.
You know, and it grows, you know, as you.
The older you get and the more experiences you have, the more it grows and kind of expands and
Yeah, I mean, I felt like when I was 5, I can remember actually being 5 years old of age, you know, and I felt like I was pretty intelligent then. You know, I only knew sort of like a couple of names then, you know, like 3 trees or something, you know, whatever, or a few blackbirds and things, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm talking about when I was 6 or 7, yeah. All right, but you know, it takes time to learn, you know, and even I'm 56 now, whatever, yeah, and I'm still learning, and in another 10 years I'm going to know a lot more.
Yeah.
I don't want to give up learning, you know, so it'd be interesting what I learn in 1 year, you know, because we just started this philosophy channel, you know, iPod channel up, and it'd be interesting what we can come out with and learn this year from what we say. You know, we learn a lot from what we do, don't we, Josh?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, yeah, philosophy is so interesting.
Yeah.
There's so many, you know, like for instance, happiness. That's to do with philosophy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And success, everything. Like,
yeah, to a degree. Like that's what I was going to say. I was just going to say like philosophy is almost like an umbrella term. You know what I mean? Like it encapsulates, you know, and encompasses so many.
It tries to answer
different
problems.
Things. Yeah.
That's what it does. You know, like.
I think philosophy is just understanding. It's kind of if you want to break it down into simple terms, into kind of like a layman's terms for like something that, you know, anyone can kind of understand. It's just basically trying to get a deeper understanding of different things in life, you know what I mean, whether they be spiritual or, you know what I mean, or, you know, physical or, you know, whatever, you know what I mean, or, you know, psychological. But yeah, you know, I think it's just basically some, you know, philosophy to each individual person is just someone, a philosopher to me is someone who is, you know, is someone who is actively gaining and seeking knowledge all the time, if you see what I mean, you know, for a better understanding of life and their surroundings and their environment and, you know what I mean, etc. You know what I mean? To me, that's what a philosopher is. You know what I mean? Someone who is kind of on a journey. You know what I mean? Of a deeper understanding of all aspects of life. You know. So.
Well, on my Facebook,
yeah.
you know, I've been sharing quotes for 7 years, you know, and studying philosophy, really, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I share quotes from Einstein,
yeah,
or whatever, you know, and I learn a lot really from other people's philosophy, and sometimes I write my own stuff, you know, and I enjoy it, you know, and the more I do it, the more I learn really, you know, and I'm looking forward to another year of doing it, see, so I can sort of even learn more, you know. Yeah, so yeah, it's amazing, you know, I think, people forget how magical they are, don't they?
Yeah.
In life, you know.
Yeah. But it's not always people's fault too, though. You know, people get, you know, as we talk about all the time, the society that we all live in today. You know what I mean? You know, is there's so much going on. There's so much pressure in society today. You know what I mean? Like the average person is just trying their best to survive. You know what I mean? And most of their life is taken up by work and their responsibilities. If they're, you know what I mean, if they're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, plus they got kids, plus they got a wife or a girlfriend or whatever the case may be, or other responsibilities outside of work, other hobbies and stuff that they, you know, like to partake in outside of work, because they do want to have a bit of a social life as well outside of work, you know. So most people's lives today are just completely like most of their time is like accounted for, if you see what I mean. Like they're, you know, most people aren't kind of free, if you see what I mean. You know.
I know.
You know.
You know,
we're all doing what we have to do to survive and to keep going and to maintain and make sure that, you know what I mean, we're living decent lives and we can, you know, all our bills are paid and we can eat well and, you know what I mean, etc. You know, our kids are straight and, you know, and looked after and you know, whatever, you know.
I just don't think people can use their imagination so much, you know, when
No.
they're at work.
Yeah.
You know, doing things that they have to do. You know, or driving a car all day long. You know, I think go back in history, right? Like people used to have bigger imaginations a little bit. You know, and I just I feel that people's it's all to do with happiness, right? Yeah, like if you're unhappy, your imagination goes in like that. You know, you just can't. Like I can't see your past. Yeah, it's invisible, isn't it? You know, I think everyone's got their own past, and sometimes they share their past with you. Don't you? You know, like I might share bits of my past.
Yeah.
You know, whatever, and it's all philosophy anyway, isn't it? You know, that we've all got a past each, and
we can all share our experiences with each other and our kind of, you know, in different you know, different aspects and different areas of our lives. We, you know, as human beings, like we always say too, as human beings, we are all very similar. We all kind of do the same things every day, live the same kind of very similar, you know, type lives.
I think we get the same problems.
And we all have the same kind of, exactly, same kind of problems, you know what I mean? We all deal with the same kind of dilemmas on a day-to-day basis, you know what I mean? And, you know, it's, you know, we all go through the same shit, and I think sometimes people have a misconception that, oh, people are so different and people are so, you know, whatever, and the reality is that we're not very different, you know what I mean? We are more alike and more similar than we are indifferent, if you see what I mean, you know? And, you know?
I think we've all got a different past, remember?
Yes.
That's what's different about us, I think.
Yeah, we've all got our own individual lives.
We've all got our own private past, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I think that's one little bit of difference, right? But you know, we all live on the same world,
Yeah.
right? And we all kind of share the same past in a kind of way, you know. Sort of, you know, like people wake up and watch the news.
Yeah.
So we're all living in the same reality.
Yeah.
So we're all sharing the same past in a kind of way, you know. Like for instance, the Twin Towers. That was everyone's past. You know, everyone's. You know, you know, but we've also got our own personal inner past, you know, where your own private past.
Yes, yes.
You know.
Yeah, like you're saying, there's a collective past, like you're saying, things that have happened
in real life
on a global scale.
Yeah, so everyone
worldwide
sees,
that everyone knows
like
about.
Michael Jackson, for instance, you know, everyone knows him.
Knows that when he passed.
You know.
If you see what I mean, almost everyone around the world kind of knew that he passed.
Yeah, so we all got the same memories sometimes.
We all have a collective past, but like I said, we all have an individual, personal past as well, of our own memories and our own things that we've experienced in life, whether they be good or bad, or whether it be trauma, or whatever the case may be, you know, whatever you've had to deal with, you know what I mean, whether, you know, from a young age growing up right through to you become an adult and, you know, going forward, you know.
I mean, when you know, like a policeman, say, goes up to someone, right? I mean, the policeman should be trained up with this, you know. When they go up to someone, they really don't know what's happened to that person's past.
Yeah.
In a kind of way, unless there's some information on a bit of paper saying something.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, I think that people need to be trained up that we don't share the same past. You know, some people have had real serious problems in their, you know, in their childhood and they don't want to tell anyone. You know, and things like that, you know. And you know, and like the police might deal with everyone the same way, but they shouldn't in the kind of way, you know, because we've all had different experiences in a way, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I think I kind of understand what you're trying to say. I think you're trying to say that, you know, they should be more mindful and of their approach.
I just think they should be aware
when they're dealing with people out there, because there's a lot of people out there who are dealing with shit, and they might be a little bit on edge anyway because of what's going on in their life on a day-to-day basis, if you see what I mean. So I think you're trying to say that they should be a little bit more mindful themselves of how they kind of approach and deal with people, you know,
yeah.
You know, on an individual basis, you know.
But otherwise, we are all the same, yeah?
Yeah.
We're all living on the same planet. We all look at the same clouds,
Mhm.
and we all look at the same moon. We
Yeah.
all share the stars.
Yeah.
You know, and we all share the same ocean, really, you know? I mean, yeah, but we don't share the same reality, do you know what I mean? We speak different languages, for instance, you know?
Yeah.
We've got different religions or beliefs as well, haven't we, you know?
Oh yeah. But that's just what makes us diverse, you know what I mean? I don't think there's anything wrong with that, you know what I mean? I think diversity is a good thing, you know what I mean? Having different cultures and different religions and different, you know, whatever, you know what I mean? You can use, you know, all these different categorizations and labels and stuff that we put on things, you know what I mean? I think it's good, you know what I mean? It embraces diversity, you know? So, you know, with diversity brings individualism at the same time, if you see what I mean. Because if we were all the same, the world would be like very boring, you know what I mean? Well, in my opinion, you know what I mean? I think the world would be quite a boring place if we were all just doing the same things, and if we just all thought the same and did the same things every day and ate the same things and watched the same things.
I'd hate it if I woke up.
You know what I mean? All did the same thing like everyone else. Everyone just woke up at the same time every day, ate the same cereal, you know what I mean? That would be crazy, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Like they say, Spice is just an old saying. Spice is the
I'd hate it if I woke up in the morning, right, and everyone was me.
Yeah.
Like
That's what I
walking
mean.
past, looking like me and doing, it's just me, hundreds, thousands of me.
Yeah.
I'd want.
But it'd be Groundhog Day. It'd be like Groundhog Day, mate, every day, because you'd be waking up at the same time every day. If everyone did the same things day in, day out, I mean, life would be incredibly boring,
No, I think it'd be, we all are different.
And I think it's even better when everything starts to integrate as well, like in certain places, like in big cities today, we can say like London, Southampton, Birmingham, certain big cities, Liverpool, whatever throughout the UK, Manchester, wherever you want to call, whatever whatever big city you want to call. I think it's got to the point today where they're all, it's multiracial society, if you see what I mean, where everyone's embracing everyone else's culture, and people are friends with, people have got friends of all races and all religions and all cultures, and I think that's great. I like that. I like how when people are embracing of each other and willing to learn from each other, and just accept that at the end of the day, underneath all these labels, we are all just human beings.
Yeah.
We're all just human beings, and that's all it boils down. That's all it boils down to. We're just all human beings.
Well, to be honest with you, we're not much different to insects. We are insects in a kind of way. We're giant insects, but we actually sort of like, as humans, very intelligent, sort of named ourselves as humans. Those are animals. We gave all the names out in a kind of way. I mean, you never know. You might have the insects, like the ants, for instance, sort of giving us names, saying they're the insects, looking at us, calling us the insects, and we're the humans, if you see what I mean. If they create their own language, if you see what I mean. So language is, I don't know, philosophy again, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of different ways of looking at philosophy. Sometimes I look at it through a blind man's eyes. Like, how does a blind man see the universe? You don't see no stars. Don't see no moons. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we see these stars and things. And I find that as I'm getting older, like when I was 3 years old, for instance, say, I didn't really know much, and then when I was 5, I knew I could see a few trees and things, a few caterpillars. And I learned about those few things.
Yeah.
And then my world grew a bit bigger as I explored more, and then I got the internet, and now I know how big it is, and then I can see all the stars up there. And it kind of feels like my actual mind or imagination is sort of like the universe itself, all the trees are living inside me. Not like when I see a new bird, for instance, if I saw a new bird tomorrow when I went for a walk, and I've never seen that bird before, it'd go in there with all the other blackbirds and things that I've all, the robins that I've seen before. You see, so there's an extra bird going in there in my imagination. Then I see a new tree, it goes in there, not all the other oak trees. So I feel like my imagination is kind of building up as I learn more and more. Like that, you see, in life, And as I get older, like another year's time, it's going to be a little bit more.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean. As long as I carry on learning, it's no good staying in bed, because you're not going to, you might as well be in the cupboard.
Yeah.
If you're in bed, aren't you? You're not going to learn anything. And I kind of like to go places, like explore places on the internet. I know that I know oak trees and all that, so I like to find different things, and go that way, and learn things that I don't know.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean. So I can get a bit more intelligent, I suppose, in life,
Yeah, I think it's all about embracing knowledge and not being like so stubborn and kind of, not really stubborn, but kind of stubborn.
Open.
You've got to be open to the fact that when presented with new information or new knowledge or new whatever, you've got to be able to say to yourself, okay, you've got to be open to change your opinions, or to change your perspective, or to change your mindset on something when presented with new information. Because sometimes you might think that you're completely right about certain things or whatever the case may be, and a few years later something might come along and completely change your perspective. Some kind of information or some kind of something might come along and change your perspective on something, and you say to yourself, you know what, this, this whole time I thought I was right about that, I was actually wrong, and now I'm presented with this new information. I'm now able to say, actually, you know what, I was wrong, but I've got the right information now, and I'm able to, admit that I was wrong, and I'm now on the right path because I've got the right information now.
Well, some people believe.
But some people are so. What I'm trying to say is, some people are so rigorous in their belief system is that no matter what information they're presented with, or factual information or knowledge they're presented with, they will dismiss it purely based upon the fact that it contradicts something that they've been kind of
once they believe,
kind of programmed to believe.
Well, once they sort of think they believe it, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until they actually sort of work out that it's not true themselves,
Yeah.
After a few years. Some people actually believe in something all their lives, which is not true.
Yeah.
True. And I'm talking about big things, like a religion that's completely not true, and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
But like a blind man, for instance, I sometimes like to look at life in a kind of way, like how does he look at gold, the value of it, things like that, it's quite interesting when you look at, like, say for instance, life through an ant's eyes. That's philosophy, sort of thinking about how, or looking through a cat's eyes, for instance, how I'm going to get up in the morning, drink some milk, go downstairs, sleep all day, and just sort of like look at different angles. That's what I do sometimes, I look at it through a baby's eyes, for instance, and sometimes write out quotes from the,
from the perspective of, Well, I think we're all, as we always say in our conversations, is that everyone's on their own individual path in life, their own individual journey. Life is life is a journey, not a destination, as they say. And I think it's just, we're all on our, not everyone, because some people go through their whole lives not ever thinking about anything kind of deep or kind of like spiritual or kind of anything above, below the kind of like surface level of reality, if you see what I mean. But a lot of people out there are on their own individual journey, and you can't blame people for what they subscribe to or what they believe in or whatever, because they've all had their own individual experience and their own upbringings and own cultures and religions and etc. That they were exposed to, throughout their life, that has made them who they are today. Like each and every one of us. We've all grown up differently. We've all grown up with different parents and in a different household with different rules and different, different parents, and we've all had different lives and different experiences, and all had whether they be good or bad. And these things are what kind of shape us and mold us into the people that we are, the individuals that we, become later on in life, if you see what I mean, That's why they even say there's a large majority of people who were in their adult life, but they're still dealing with a lot of like childhood trauma in their adult life, because it didn't all the trauma that they experienced at a young age, it didn't manifest itself afterwards, but as they got older, it manifested itself in their life as they got older, if you see what I mean, the childhood trauma that they they went through, so it's you just have to be I try to be as non kind of judgmental as possible, I'm a big believer in individuality, and I think people should be able to believe in whatever they want to believe. They should be able to subscribe to whatever they want to subscribe to, and they should be able to do whatever they want as long as they're not hurting anyone or doing anything negative in any way, shape or form. That people should be able to do whatever they want. It's
their life.
their life,
you know.
Who are we to judge the next man for how they live their life? You know what I mean? And we all do it. You know what I mean? On a sometimes on a conscious level and sometimes on an unconscious level. You know, we all do it. That is a reality sometimes. You know, but I try to be as non-judgmental as possible because, as we were talking about earlier as well, none of us are perfect. You know, not one of us is perfect. We've all got flaws. We've all got, you know, we've all made mistakes in life. We've all fucked up at different points. We've all made, you know, errors throughout our life.
I've not made one. I've not made one.
He's Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, well, actually, I did make one when I was little.
Yeah.
No, I've made loads, you know. Like, since getting married, I think that's the biggest mistake I've ever made in my life.
Yeah.
You know, yeah,
but in the moment, you didn't think that.
No.
If you see what I mean. So
no,
it's only in hindsight. That's why we talk about all the time. Like they say, hindsight, you know, is 20/20. If you see what I mean. Basically mean, you know, when you reflect and you analyse shit, you can see it from a different perspective.
That's why I say you've got to
experience it. When you're in the moment, like you said, and experiencing it, you know what I mean, you're thinking about it and seeing it a completely different way.
That's what I say, you've got to experience it to see it backwards, if you see what I mean. So you've got to do it first, then you can see it backwards and think, I should have done that.
Yeah.
In a kind of way, you know.
Yeah.
And then, sometimes you make the same mistake twice, you know. Yeah, I mean, life's full of mistakes, you know, it really is, you know. I don't think there's a day that goes by that I have, you know, something that doesn't go wrong, if you see what I mean. You know, it's going to be a perfect day.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think anyone has a perfect day.
No one. Yeah. Well, I think you have some days which are just great.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean, where it's just like nothing at all seems to go wrong that day at all, and you just, you know, everything you wanted
to get. You've had a day of your life.
Yeah, everything you wanted to get accomplished that day, you got done, or you know what I mean, you managed to achieve a lot.
On your honeymoon.
Or whatever.
First night on your honeymoon.
Yeah. You know.
You know, the perfect day.
You know.
I mean, some people spend like for instance, how much did Harry spend on their wedding or something, or whatever I heard.
Well, it costs millions. Apparently, it costs the taxpayers millions, like it always does.
People.
Of course it does.
Right.
Yeah.
It's awful, isn't it?
Where do you think the money comes from?
I thought they paid for it out of their pocket because they got the Netflix or something, haven't they?
Yeah. No, but who do you think pays for everything that is? Who do you think pays for all these politicians and all the royal family?
I know that, like Margaret Thatcher, for instance.
Where do you think all their money comes from?
Yeah.
It comes from the taxpayers. That's
why
they call us the taxpayers, because we pay you know.
Yeah, I know that, but I just thought the wedding might come out of their own pocket because they're sort of like.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's just, to me, it's, you know, how much did they spend on it?
I can't remember, like 30 or 40 million or something like that.
You know, I think it's a little bit too much. You know, I think it's, you know. Well, anyway, you know, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
You know, we'll talk about philosophy.
Yeah.
Is that philosophy?
But I think part of philosophy was what we were talking about though, which was reflection, you know, and being accountable, you know, being honest with yourself and holding yourself accountable for your actions.